Venice Beach, California. This was home to Jean-Michel Basquiat in the 1980s. He worked in a studio owned by Larry Gagosian, and he painted many works there. In 1982, he created a work. In 1982, Jean-Michel Basquiat created a work entitled All Colored Cast. He created that work just down the street at Market Street at his studio. He painted none other than Ermias Joseph Askedam, aka Nipsey Hussle. In 1982, Jean-Michel Basquiat painted All Colored Cast, Part 3. A painting in which he painted Nipsey Hussle. 30 years later, Nipsey Hussle would take a picture, and that picture would mirror the painting that Jean-Michel Basquiat created. The painting Jean-Michel Basquiat created was created 3 years before Nipsey was even born. And it was created right down the street. Right down the street. Let's go down the street to the location where Jean-Michel Basquiat painted that painting. Every year in October, the Lord of Miracles is celebrated in Peru, in the South American country called Peru. There was a slave who painted Jesus. He painted Christ, Madonna. He painted the crucifix. It was Jesus that he painted. And he painted him on the wall of a cathedral. And in the city of Lima, Peru, one year there was a massive earthquake, and the walls of the cathedral all collapsed, except for the wall on which that enslaved Angolan painted Jesus. And because that was the only wall that stood, it became known as the Lord of Miracles. That was the sacred spot, the sacred location. And every year in October, Latinos, it doesn't matter if they're from Peru or not, but they celebrate the Lord of Miracles. So if a painting can hold such great significance like that the world over, Latinos and people can rally behind the painting and the history and celebrate Jesus's life, then from right here in Venice, California, where Jean-Michel Basquiat painted Nipsey Hussle, the same can be true right here in Los Angeles. Because we all know Nip was anointed. Nip was blessed. We know that for sure. I'm still walking. I'm making my way to the studio, Jean-Michel Basquiat's studio on Market Street, where I believe the painting was actually created in 1982. Fascinating history. Check it out. Artwork has the power to conjure spirits. It can connote, it can denote, it can incantate, give meaning, and so many things. All right. I bet someone looked like this woman who was painted here. In fact, there's a man after which this painting was actually created. That's Harry Perry right there. A real man. Was this a real woman? Who knows? Does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? I bet there's a young woman who looks similar to this, who probably roller skates and has visited Venice Beach. And maybe her friends have told her, hey, you know what? You look like that painting over there. Coincidences. They are real. But beyond a coincidence, let's say that we found a woman who looked just like this, skated in blue skates just like this, and wore similar outfits, and she had blonde hair, and she lived in Venice, Italy. Imagine that. Then that would be that would be even greater than a coincidence. That would just be a bizarre reality. But if it were true, well, then we'd have ourselves something very special and juicy. A juicy morsel of serendipity, synchronicity, you name it. Life is a mystery. So be it. I'm making my way down here to a familiar haunt of mine. This is up the way I stopped at the Marathon Burger joint, the spot, Marathon Burger. Now I'm over here where Jean-Michel Basquiat lived a few months out of the year, all right, in the 80s, but specifically in 1982, right behind me in this building. This was home to Jean-Michel Basquiat during the 1980s. I was only a kid then. I was a child, and I had no idea who Basquiat was. But he was an adult. You know, he was, 19 years older than me? Let me see. I was born in 79. He was born in 1960. 19 years older than me. Anywho, so I guess he was 21 years old when he lived right here at this building on Market Street, and in the year 1982 he painted All Colored Cast Part 3. And All Colored Cast Part 3 is a painting of Nipsey Hussle, Ermias Joseph Askedam. What a coincidence that today, just a block or so down, or a block or so south of this location, this very location right here, you find the Marathon Burger restaurant. Imagine that. Nipsey was a young boy. Ermias was a young boy growing up in South Central Los Angeles with big dreams of success, far greater, far beyond his immediate surroundings. And today he is world famous, world renowned. Even though he is deceased, his legacy is world famous and world renowned to this day. And it will continue. My job is to show you what I see. You see, I see 10-9. And whenever I see 10-9, well, I know something special is there. I know that it means something special. In fact, when I found that picture of Nipsey Hussle in Japan, and just behind him there were the numbers 109, I knew that was special. I just didn't know how special it was. Maybe a year after I found that picture, I discovered the painting that Jean-Michel Basquiat created right here in this room. Well, I believe it was created here because he lived here. He painted here. I could be wrong. He could have created it in New York. But what a special morsel of truth, of fact, it would be to discover that it was actually painted right here. Imagine that. In Los Angeles, where Nipsey too was born, in Los Angeles. Wouldn't that be fascinating to discover if that were true? Anywho, the painting and the picture, I tell you, it's undeniable. When you look at both, you might not see it immediately, but follow the, like Hansel and Gretel, follow the trail, and the whole picture will reveal itself to you. And then you will see what I see. I was down the street talking to the brother, and he told me I look like Moses. 109 on my mind. I was fine, I thought, until I started waking at 109 on the dot multiple times, and then it hit me. Man, these numbers keep coming to visit me. Even when I bought a train or plane ticket, my seat would be in row 10 or 9, respectively. Isn't that crazy? Go to ic109.store. Go to YouTube, ic109, Instagram, TikTok. Come learn a little bit more about the connection between Jean-Michel Basquiat and Nipsey Hussle.